And good morning. Welcome to a Tadpoll for Thursday morning. New surroundings. I tell you what, a lot of things going on here at Myfield County Online. We're in a different location. We now have a studio to broadcast from during the Tadpoll on a Thursday. We have all kinds of things planned for today. We're going to try to go to somewhere between Washington and Gettysburg, I think, and talk to Terry Thomason live and see what the thing is. I guess they've had all kinds of weather problems back there, and it's going to continue. We'll be talking to Terry about that. Now, this is going to be a first, so we'll see how that works. But we're in the studios here on the west side of the square in downtown Phillipsburg. Our first guest this morning will be talking about CASA, the big chocolate event coming up this Saturday, also the Easter egg hunt with Tony and Angie. Lance Munyon, Mayor of Phillipsburg, will be stopping in with Brett Miles to talk about some of the things going on in the city. Terry Thomason, hopefully somewhere along the way, we'll be talking with Terry. And Sally Brandon is going to stop in and tell us about her yarn was used on a big knitting excursion in New York City on the subways. Now, I've seen a lot of things on the subways in New York City, but I've never seen anyone knitting, I don't think. But we're gonna talk about that. That's kind of exciting, I think. So it's a great Tadpoll again. We thank the sponsors who make it possible for us to come in and do this every Thursday morning. I mentioned new surroundings, and they're still doing work. We tell them to quit the hammering and the sawing and everything for a little bit here, but they'll be going back at it, and we'll be here at the back area of the location here on the west side of the square from now on, and I'm looking forward to this. And again, I got my fingers and toes crossed this morning on being able to get Terry on here because I really would like to talk to him. I talked with Terry last night. They closed Washington yesterday, and it stopped snowing by 3, he said. But they get antsy back there, and everything was closed. I think the American history, the Smithsonian American history, is the only thing that was open. The people were going to go to Pentagon City, which is a mall right west of the Pentagon, across the interstate, and do some shopping. Well, they closed all the shops there. They did leave the food court open, which is a great food court, but so the students and adults could eat. But everything else kind of just went south because of that the weather situation. Okay, Angie and Tony, CASA, coming up Saturday?
Yes. This Saturday at 5 o'clock is our, I believe it's the 12th chocolate auction for CASA. And at 5 o'clock we will start with the social hour, and people can look at the bid on all the silent auction items, and then look at all the live auction items. And approximately 6 o'clock we'll start the live auction, and during that 5 to 6, lots of food to eat. We'll have wine and champagne. And
looking forward to that. You're on the board.
Yes.
How are things coming from the board standpoint?
Awesome. We've all worked together. We did a work night, and it was just really neat to see what everyone brought in and put the baskets together, and it's just really neat. We have some really, really nice baskets this year. Hoping that a lot of people come. We're going to try something new with the VIP table. We're trying the mystery boxes this year. We're just adding. So it's just really going to be a fun night.
What's the price for the VIP box? Let's see, for the VIP, what is the bid on that?
Okay. It has been awarded to Katie Link. Won the VIP table.
Okay.
Yep. She won
with a last minute bid on Wednesday night or Tuesday evening. So so Katie and 3 of her guests will come and be set at the VIP table and be treated like
all
royalty.
The fixings, the china, the everything and stuff.
Okay.
So
Now the
she's
basket,
pretty excited about it.
But the baskets you mentioned, now is this on the silent? Are those usually silent auction things, or
they're
they be
both.
Auctioned too?
Well, they're both. There's silent auction ones, and then there's live. Some in the baskets, but mostly silent.
Wow. Okay. So you got together and had a party on that?
Well, sure. We had pizza party.
Okay. And like at 5 o'clock, and then the auction. Actually, the live auction. When does that start?
At approximately 6 o'clock.
6
we will
o'clock,
get that
okay.
started. Depending on the crowd and
Sure.
and how everything's going. Sometimes we get started right at 6, and sometimes it's a little bit after.
It's an evening of fun.
It's kind of a
it's one of those
time
things.
Kind of go with the flow.
Sure,
So.
that's the way to go. Some of the things. I know you've got that KU basketball.
We do. One thing I did want to talk about yesterday, we had a very unique item come in. Deb LeBlanc, who is from here in Phillipsburg, her niece is the director of Eastern Kansas or Eastern Montana CASA, which is a CASA
Eastern
agency,
Montana. Wow,
and it's
okay.
CASA of Eastern Montana. She had heard about the chocolate auction from Deb for years, and she called me the other day, and she mailed a box full of Montana chocolates.
Woohoo!
Montana chocolate.
Chocolate from Montana. There is
Wow.
Yeah.
there is chocolate covered sunflower seeds.
Have you ever heard of that?
No, I
Yeah,
haven't.
that looks really good. And there's a bag of what they call Montana pheasant poop.
I've had that.
Have you? And there's Montana Bigfoot poop.
Right.
And it's chocolate covered peanuts and
yeah,
chocolate
sure.
covered
It's
almonds.
good.
And
I've had
roasted
that.
almonds and
I've had that.
Montana
That-
s'mores, and there's a whole big basket we have full of chocolates just for Montana.
We can eat
So,
poop.
Yeah, right.
Yay!
Bigfoot poop.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so-
that's good
But
chocolate stuff there.
A lot
Yeah.
of great items. I think
Yeah.
the board, when they put the baskets together, right now we have 34 or 35 silent auction items, baskets full
Wow,
of stuff,
sure.
and then
Wow.
we'll have 32 live auction items to go for
And,
bids.
and most of them, I mean, the value of them is 100 plus. I mean,
Really?
100, yeah. I mean,
Wow,
it's just the
okay.
value of them is worth every penny. And
Sure.
so, the whole part of this is just to get people to spend money to because it's going for a great cause, and you're also getting something out of it. So it's just we really invite everyone to come that can come. You get the tickets at the door. And
How
it's
much
just
is a
gonna be a great
ticket?
time.
Tickets are or when you come to the door, it's $10 for adults or $5 for children 16 and under.
Okay, and
So
that takes care of everything except your bidding, right?
that takes care of everything but what you buy at the auction. Yes.
So you get food, you get drinks, you get a good time. Yeah.
Piano.
Chocolate.
We do have a piano player that's just great. He is
Wow.
very, very good, and he plays through the whole social
Really?
hour.
Wow.
And
Who is that? Is that a secret?
his name is Jim Hindman. He's from Downs.
Okay. I think I may have heard him somewhere.
He's played a lot around
Sure,
here too,
okay.
and he really
Wow.
plays well. He can play at the level where people can still visit,
Sure,
but
yeah.
it still sounds really good. So.
And there's tables where there's chairs and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
so you don't have to stand the whole time. And there's also the way we have it set up is in the back, in the not the lobby area of the Huck Boyd, but in the other part where we had our
north?
banquet stuff.
Yeah,
in the north. So there's going
meeting
to be
room, I think.
right.
Yeah.
So there's going to be tables there where you can sit, or there's going to be chairs up front where you can kind of like how you do a bidding auction,
Sure.
whatever. So it just kind of depends on what time you get there, where you get set, and then you in the other area there's the table set up so you can go around and see the silent auction.
That'll be out in the greeting area
Yes,
there where
and
you
then
come in the door. yeah.
food's in there. We'll have a table, and I'll be there where you can register and you can get your bidding number,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll just have all that kind of stuff.
Someone asked me the other day, said, can anyone use a credit card, or does that be cash or
That's
check?
one thing we haven't got to the point yet where we can accept
Okay,
credit
so
cards, and we
just-
really
sure.
need to do that. We've talked about doing that where you can now do
I
that.
think you can do it
just
now.
on the phone,
I was
yeah.
somewhere the other day, and they put it in your cell phone or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
Gee.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's
that's
and I'm glad you brought that up, Tad. We cannot at this point accept credit cards, so cash or check we will
Sure.
accept, and hopefully maybe next year we can
Yeah,
get that
okay.
set up so we can.
I hope
do it.
that's Terry. Okay. Anyway, so all kinds of what else besides the basketball? What other things? You have trips and
We have the Larry and Sherry Cole's 5 days in Breckenridge at their condo, 7 days at any timeshare in the United States.
Wow. Is there a New York in on that? Is there a New York timeshare?
I bet there is.
I think it's
Yeah, she
everywhere.
said you anywhere.
Okay.
Anywhere.
They'll set it up for you. Our
Yes.
last
Sure.
2 years ago, they went to Hawaii. So,
Wow.
but I'm trying to put my mind's just.
We have
Sure.
fire
Racing right
pits,
now.
we have lamps, we have everything from kids stuff. We have a thing full of games. We have jewelry, lots of jewelry. We have men's fishing basket kind of thing.
Wow.
We have anything you can imagine.
Yeah,
we have
tools,
tools,
toolboxes.
a KU toolbox
KU
with a hammer.
toolbox.
A KU
We have
toolbox,
Yes,
all right,
we have
okay.
a K-State live auction thing with a flag
Banner. Yeah.
flag banner, and then
With
it's
the
also
power
got
cat
a
on
bunch
it,
of
maybe?
yes,
There's a
and
power
it's
cat
got,
on it,
so
okay.
you can get something for both your boys.
That's
you got
right.
the
Yeah, I'll have to
K-State
call,
and the
I'll have to
KU.
call my other son and see what he wants to
Yes.
do, because he's got his man cave with
Yeah.
all kinds of Kansas State.
And it talks about man cave. I think it has something
We have
about that.
we
so-
actually have a mom cave sign.
Oh, you
And a
do?
mom cave basket, so for mothers. But there's things for baskets put together for grandmothers to spoil their grandchildren.
Wow, sure.
Um,
Wow.
Baskets for of all ages, for
Yeah.
kids all the way up,
Okay.
to adults. So
we have a
a
great
little
variety
bit of
this year.
everything.
Yeah.
There is a big variety. And,
Yes.
And
food gift certificates, lots of those. We do have one that Colleen Gale here in Phillipsburg donated to us, and she does it for the hospice auction as well, where there's a gift certificate to, I believe, every restaurant in Phillipsburg, plus movie
Oh, wow.
certificate.
Okay,
Isn't
So
that great?
that's
you can
Sure,
purchase
yeah.
that and go have $20 worth of food at pretty much anywhere in
it
Phillipsburg.
feels, that's great.
Yeah.
And we have the basket that's gonna be where you can go around every town in the 17th judicial district.
All but one. There's
All but one.
there's a gift certificate for
Wow.
a
Okay.
place to eat and a gas card to get you some
Yeah,
gas to go
fill your
around. So.
car up and take a trip.
All right. Just quickly, Casa, you might explain that just
Sure,
a little bit.
sure. It's court-appointed special advocates, and we're volunteers from the community that serve as another set of eyes and ears for the court with abused and neglected children. The judge will appoint a CASA volunteer, and we kind of act as a voice for that child in court
think
through
it's
the
very
through the
important
entire
to-
process.
To have someone adult that can be in their corner, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is. It's the one constant that they may not otherwise have.
So,
Right.
okay.
We did want to mention the sponsors.
Yes, I do want to recognize our gold sponsors from Phillipsburg, which is sponsors of $500 and over. In Phillips County was Prairie Horizon
Okay.
and United Methodist Women Thrift Store.
Okay.
And those are our Phillips County.
Do you have
main
others, or
sponsors.
can you remember all of them?
There are others. Poor Farms in Alton.
Uh-huh.
Larry and Sherry Cole as well.
Okay.
Roberta and Jim Schlafly of Downs. And
We'll put
those
pressure
are,
on you here.
New Age in Norton.
Okay. All right.
And those are the main ones that are the
Okay.
signature sponsors of the event.
Okay.
There's a lot. We get a lot from a lot of people, local businesses that sponsor, that donate, and we want to thank everyone that donates, because without them,
Sure.
we couldn't do
Yes,
this. So,
literally hundreds of places and people that donate to us, and we appreciate every one of them, whether it's a $3 item or
Right.
a $1,500
right.
item.
Okay,
It's
all
just
right.
going for the
It's
kids.
just
That's
as
what's
important.
important.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, very good. So
Yep.
that's this Saturday night, Huck Boyd, 5 o'clock. Go out,
Social
go out
hour.
early, food, and it gives you a chance to see what the.
Right.
You know what's fun on the other side of auctions, because everyone in one room, and they don't know whether someone, and they'll come back and they go back to see if they can stop their bid,
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
they'll bid. That's
Yes.
that's what's fun about the
Yep.
silent auction.
Yep.
Kind of keep an eye on that, what you want.
That's right.
And from the standpoint, well, I hope they don't go too high, and then someone comes in and signs it, so you have to go back
Go
over and
back
make that
over.
decision whether you want to go with a new total there. That's what's
right.
fun about
Yeah.
it.
And
it
we'll
is fun.
close those silent auction tables intermittently as the night, all the way
okay,
through
sure.
the live auction.
Okay,
So
okay.
they'll just
So it
be
won't
closed
be all
through
at
the
once.
night, not
It'll
all at
just
once.
be
So.
different
Sounds
times.
like things are about ready.
Yep, we start tomorrow
Oh,
setting up and
I
ready
sure
to go.
hope so.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
It looks like the weather should be. We need rain, but the weather should be pretty good. No 7 inches or 18 inches of snow
No,
like we're talking
and that's
about
why
here.
we kind of moved it from
Sure.
middle of February
Yeah,
to
sure.
March
Yeah, okay,
a few
so,
years
well,
ago. So
we hope that a lot of people show up and
Hope so.
bid on the things and enjoy the food and the
Yep.
fellowship and everything. Thank you for coming
Yep,
in. All
yep.
right. Oh, you want to talk about
Yeah,
these
I want to
steakhouse.
talk about that. So, if you want to
Yes,
go or you want to stay,
I think we have.
I'm
All
gonna
right.
take
Yeah.
off and
Yeah.
then I will get a hold of you in a little
Yeah,
while.
All right.
okay,
Thank
fine.
you.
Thank you.
luck.
Thanks,
I'll
Tony.
see you
Yeah.
later, Tony.
Bye.
All right, so I want to talk about the Easter egg hunt
Oh,
again,
okay.
of course, March 31st, and that starts at 10 a.m. for 0 to 2-year-olds, and then followed by that it'd be 10-10. We'll start with the 3 to 4-year-olds, and it just kind of we follow everything, all the age groups and stuff. So at 10-20, 5 and 6-year-olds, and then 7 through 10-year-olds at 10:30. That's subject to change. It just kind of depends on what the weather's like on that day, because if it's rainy, cold, whatever, they want to go and I
Sure.
want to go. So we just kind of we'll just plan. So come a little bit early. Don't set on these times, because it could
Sure.
change. It's at the courthouse lawn, which is beautiful, and it's nice and green, and the eggs look so pretty. You know, I stuffed all those eggs, and you seen them the other day.
I saw. Yes, there's a lot of eggs.
Yes, it was so
A
funny.
lot of eggs.
The other day, someone came to the office and they said it looked like the Easter Bunny blew up in here, and I'm just like, well, it wasn't the Easter Bunny, but it was just. I mean,
Sure.
I had bags, 350 bags everywhere. I had eggs everywhere, and I just want to thank my daughter Kristen, because she came up over spring break and she helped me, and
Sure.
it was nice, good quality bonding time, and
I
she's a
saw
great
him
kiddo.
one night. I saw him leaving here doing that.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of eggs there.
Yes. So bring a camera if you want to take pictures, because we don't do that. And then eggs and Easter baskets while supplies last. And get your Easter bag ticket at the table, at the booth. And so they'll be handed out by different people. Get your ticket, and then you go to different businesses that have the baskets, and maybe people have seen them throughout town. Like they're at First National Bank and Trust, and there's some at Blossoms, and they're just, I can't even name all the
Sure,
places
sure.
that they're at, because
Yeah.
and without these sponsors, I mean, this wouldn't be possible. So I'd like to thank them, and we'll have a great time.
Okay, it looks like things are moving there, and it's a week from this Saturday, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
The day before Easter.
Day before Easter,
gonna
rain
hit
or
the-
shine. So everyone says, "Oh, I thought you had it before that," and I'm like, "No, we don't because you can never plan. I
Did
mean,
they-
it's just too hard."
Did the Easter Bunny come to your house when the kids were growing up?
Yes,
Easter Bunny.
Yes, he did. He did.
The Easter Bunny came to my house too,
Mm-hmm.
and there's always amazing on Easter morning you get up, and the Easter Bunny sometime will leave me like a comic book, a new comic book,
Oh.
instead of just the eggs.
Uh huh.
Did you used to color eggs too?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Every year we colored eggs with the boys, and that was
Yeah.
always a special time.
Yeah. One thing that Easter Bunny always left my kids, which was always so fun, was a kite.
Okay,
And a kite. So they each had a kite all the time, and it was really neat because they always wanted to
Sure,
open it up
sure,
and go fly the
go
kite.
fly the
Well,
kite.
some days it wasn't. You didn't even have a wind, so
Yeah.
it was kind of
Well,
like, well,
this year had been a good year for kite flying. I think
Yeah.
I did.
Yep. It's going to be great. And then we got some other things coming up. We got Girls Night Out coming up on April 20th, and I'll come back and talk to you about that. We got a car show coming up. We got lots of different things that are just happening in Phillipsburg.
Okay,
So,
all right, things
yeah.
moving. So don't forget. Do you want to come on next? Kind of give a last
Sure,
little shot of that.
of
Okay,
course.
on the Easter egg hunting. You might bring a couple of eggs.
Okay.
And show people what they're going to look like. and
Okay,
everything.
that'd be
all right,
perfect.
fine. Thank you.
All right,
Andy.
thank you. Have a
we
good
hope
day.
the casa goes great too.
Thanks.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll see ya.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, this morning, talking about the Casa chocolate event.
Carry on.
Angie Wells and Tony Miller. The program brought to you here at the Tadpoll by Phillips County Health Systems, Olive Boy Memorial Chapel, Stephen E. Rust, your State Farm agent, Sonic Drive-In. Like us on Facebook to see our Sonic deals, Phillipsburg Chamber and Main Street, where the roads are paved with opportunity. Farmers and Ranchers Outlet, and J&R HIVAC R. So, do we have Terry somewhere?
Yep, he's on here.
Okay, let's see. Put the headset on here.
Yep.
All right. Are we? Okay, where are we? Do we have him on there?
1 second.
Okay. Are you there, Terry? 1 second there.
I think can you hear him?
Are we there, Terry?
I'm not getting him.
And I can't hear. I can't hear Rachel because I have the headphone on there.
We've got him on the.
Okay.
Let me turn this around here.
All right, Terry. Good morning, Terry. I can't hear Terry.
Can't hear him?
I can't hear him here. We'll keep going. I can see your face. It looks like you have snow in the background. I can read your lips. Okay. Oh, all right. Can you hear me? I don't know.
Oh,
This is a first.
here, let me see the.
Okay, now we'll see here. Okay. Well,
I just got to get these.
we'll get we've got the picture there. It looks like he's not on the bus though. Here he's or the coach. He's out there somewhere. I'm looking forward to hopefully that we can. If I read lips, I'd know what. And I don't know whether you can hear me or not.
He said that you can.
Can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, Terry. Okay, got a thumbs up. All right. So at least you can hear me. Now I'm gonna get so I can hear. Oh, we'll be with you in a minute. Who's okay? This is infancy.
I think I may have lost him.
Okay. It's a cold there, Terry? No.
It's reconnecting.
Did we lose him? Okay. This was going to be an experiment, as we said.
I'm not sure why we don't have the audio. Okay, we're gonna have to try this again.
Okay.
Wonder if
I,
here we go.
I think he's calling back in again. I think we dropped. There's three of me there. Let me see.
I just
Can I hear him with your phone?
I can't hear him on anything actually. I'm not sure why. Hold on 1 second there.
I think they can hear me though, because they got a thumbs
I
up.
can hear you. Yep.
Okay, I got thumbs up on that. So, I don't know whose thumb that is. Is that a thumb comes up there every once in a while? Do I know who they are? Well, I hope we get this. This is really interesting. The electronics here. I guess I can have Terry talk real slow and I can read his lips, but that would. Yeah. You know, I mentioned we have standing by last Monday, and Brad are going to stop in here to talk about some things that are going on in the city. I mentioned this is a first time attempt on this. Terry in the picture there.
Yep, I got Terry. I just gotta get his audio sound.
Is someone have to hold the camera? Is it, I guess, his phone, I guess, right?
It's his phone.
Okay.
I don't understand why. Oh, we lost him again. Darn it.
I think they're coming back again here.
Actually, well,
Okay. Could I talk? Could I hear him on the phone, or you can't hear him either, right?
I can't hear him.
Okay. All right.
I'm not sure why we're not hearing him.
How much snow, Terry? How many inches where you are there? Or someone could show me with their fingers with the listing. 5 inches? Okay, 5 inches. We got that. Hey, go to here. Where I don't. Are you in? Are you at Gettysburg yet? On your way to Gettysburg? Down to Washington? Still in Washington? Okay. Virginia?
Can you have someone call on another phone?
Well, I could call on my. Yeah.
Have. Is there somebody with? Terry, can you have someone call me or Tad on another phone and you can talk to him on the phone? No.
Can't do that. Okay, all righty.
I don't know where our audio is.
Well, you're looking good anyway, Terry.
Oops.
You aren't sunburned.
There, he's calling. We may just have to talk.
You
He's
what?
calling you.
He sure is. Okay. Good morning.
Good morning. Can we talk this way?
Well, I don't know. I don't know whether I can hear you now, but I don't know whether you go in the system. Okay,
Just put it on live. Let's just talk to him now.
just a second.
There you go.
Okay, you're on speaker now.
I'll put
All right.
Okay.
set it down here.
Okay, like that. I mean, this is really. Oh, now, can you hear me?
Video.
I can hear you, Dad.
Okay, I can hear you. Where are you?
Can't see you anymore.
Okay, where are you now?
Well, I was hoping you could see it. I'm standing in the sunshine on a hill in Arlington National Cemetery. I was wanting everybody to see it.
Okay, I thought that looked like the cemetery, and we could see you for a while, but now since we're on the phone, we aren't going to be able to see you. Is that right?
Right.
That's
Okay,
right.
I'm sorry.
See it.
I'm sorry about that, but we can talk to you.
That's right. I'd like to do that.
Okay, can you hear him all right coming off of this? This is, we'll get the earphones on and we'll see how things are going. How?
Okay.
Okay, can you hear him all right? Okay, good. Let's talk a little bit about the trip.
Okay.
You're at Arlington now, right?
We are at Arlington, and it was a struggle to get here, Dad.
Okay. You told me last. Go ahead.
I said, yesterday with the little bit of snow they had, they closed the entire city down.
Yeah.
We had to change all our plans for yesterday. The only thing that was open was American History Museum. So we gave the kids a lot of time there. Then we thought we would take them out to Pentagon City, let them have a couple hours out there, enjoy the evening, and have some food. And darn if they didn't close the Pentagon City Mall at 5 o'clock.
And I've been there, of course, many times, and we visited all the different museums. 5 hours, 5 hours in the United States History Museum. Did that go pretty well?
Yes, it did go very well. It was very, very crowded because all the school groups that were in the city are here because there's no place else to go. But the kids did have a great time. They got a lot of time to see everything, so everything went well there. But this morning they messed us up again because the entire city decided to stay closed until 10 a.m.
So,
So
5 inches.
ahead.
Yeah, 5 inches of snow there really shut the city down, right?
it does. Anything above about 2 inches completely shuts the city down. Federal government was closed all day yesterday. Delayed opening today, so we had to change our entire plans for today too.
Okay, so you missed out. Did you make it to Mount Vernon?
We did make it to Mount Vernon. That was the day before. That was on Tuesday. So we had a great time out there. It was very nice too. We had a great time.
Yeah, I've never been there. Now, how was the trip from this part of the country back there? Did that go all right on the coaches?
It went as smooth as it ever has, Tad. We actually arrived back here 3 hours ahead of our schedule.
Did you get together, all three of your coaches? Where'd you finally meet to get all together?
We didn't meet until St. Peter, Missouri, and at that time we only had a 5-minute meeting, and then the Poisington bus took out again and went on, and then the other 2 buses split up and went on. So we were only together just very, very little across country.
Okay.
But worked out well, and we made great time.
So the only thing, you missed most of the Smithsonian's. You did have a chance to go to the museum at Dulles, and that's one of my favorite places now.
Yes, we did. Was our first stop. It was very nice weather at that point, so we had a great time there. The kids really enjoyed that.
Did you head back east? Did you go up the Shenandoah Valley into Washington, or did you take 70 back?
No, we went up right up the Shenandoah Valley, and because of the time change being a week earlier, we actually got to go through it in the daylight. So, as you know, that's one of the prettiest parts of the country.
Okay, beautiful one. So, but you missed out. Did you make it on Capitol Hill? Did you get up there?
We did make it up to Capitol Hill. Got up there. The kids had a good tour there. Had some miscommunications with Senator Moran's office, and he got some bad information and went to a different building, and the building we were in. So we did not get to see him. But we did get the pictures of the kids on Capitol Hill, and they got their tour.
Sure. Okay. Then of course you missed out some of the museums. And now, are you going to be able to see Change of the Guard? Have you seen that already?
Actually, we just saw the changing of the guard, Tad, and then they had a patriotic ceremony. Don't know why they were doing that, but they had the Army band here.
Wow.
The buglers here, and about 30 uniformed officers. So it's quite the show for the kids. I think they're going to be really excited to talk about it.
So, after Arlington, are you heading to Gettysburg?
Yeah, we had to delay that a little bit because Arlington was also closed this morning, delayed opening from 8 o'clock to 10. So we pushed the rest of the day back, got our reservation at Gettysburg changed, and so we'll be heading over there about noon today.
Okay, then of course tomorrow morning you'll go on into New York City, and what's the latest? I tried to watch the weather this morning, and they're still talking about snow. So what's the latest on New York?
Weather's going to clear up there for us. Snow stopped there last night. They reopened all their schools today, so we should be just fine tomorrow. No problems at all.
Okay, and so everything's going as planned when you get to New York. Then hopefully you'll be able to do all your things. Last year we had bad weather, but that was the first year. These last 2 years, I've never remember the weather being like it has the last 2 years when the students have been back there.
No, it's never been as cold as it was last year. A little bit of wind this year, but I think it's going to be probably about 20 degrees warmer than we had last year. So hopefully we'll do well there.
How are the students doing?
They're doing great. Even though we had to change a few things around and skip a couple of things, they're just as happy as can be and glad to see what they're seeing, and everybody's doing just fine.
Okay, now, so you'll be in New York through, Sunday night?
I'm sorry?
Sunday night? Do you leave New York on Sunday night?
Yeah, we're going to leave the city about 6 o'clock Sunday night, and we'll drive through the night and see you guys sometime Monday evening.
And I've done that several times too.
Yes, you have.
It's a great trip. I wish I was with you. Anything else that you want to comment on?
I'm sorry, Tad, we're breaking up a little bit.
Okay, yeah. Anything else you want to comment on?
No, just that the kids are doing a great job this year with the large group. It's a little more difficult to keep them together, but they're working as hard as they can and doing a great job. No problems for us at all.
It's
Gettysburg. We're all excited to get on the road for Gettysburg, so we're going to be doing that here just real shortly.
all right. We hope that things go well the rest of the way, and I know you got great drivers, the kids and the adults and everything. Everyone's enjoying it. I know it's too bad you had to miss some of the museums and so on, but all in all, it sounds like even with the weather, things went well.
Yep. We're doing as well as we can be expected.
Okay. Is it cold? Is it very cold, or is it just snowy?
It's not bad. It's in the high 30s here. The problem in Washington, though, is that we've got about a 20-mile-an-hour wind.
Okay. Well, where do you go after Arlington? Are you doing something else in Washington?
No. Once we get to Washington, we've got our tickets for Gettysburg, so we've got to get on the bus and race down there.
Okay. Well, you have a good trip and enjoy Gettysburg and New York, and I'm glad that things are going well even with the weather. I appreciate you calling. I'm sorry we didn't get your face on the whole time, but
Dad, I appreciate it. We're always glad to talk to you. I just wish we could have looked at you.
Okay. You have a good day. Say hello to everyone for me, and say that everyone back here is kind of keeping track of what's going on. We got a lot of pictures and stuff, so just keep up the good work
Some more today.
and enjoy New York.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll see you. Thanks. We'll see you, Terry. Bye. Well, we got the voice on anyway, and that works out fine. We'll have to figure out how, because I'm sure we want to do this again with someone else. So that's great. All right, I think we're going to be talking now with the mayor of Phillipsburg and also a councilman. Brett Miles will be with us, along with Lance Bunyan. Reminder that the Tadpoll brought to you by First National Bank and Trust, proudly supporting Panther athletics. From our sales floor to your delivery door, come see Jim and Terry at Olive Bowie Furniture and Appliance, where we provide gracious living for less. Sunburst Realty LLC, where you find the best homes under the sun. Professional Family Eye Care, see Dr. Jumina for all of your eye care needs. Coombs Trucking, you call, we haul. Wyman Firestone, Tire Sales and Service, backing the youth of Phillips County. And Biggs Insurance for all of your auto, home, business, and farm insurance needs. Talking with Terry there, that's great. They had the chance to see Arlington. That was always an important place to visit, and hope that the weather remains good for them the rest of the time. All right, with us this morning, Lance and Brett. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. You don't have the problems in Phillipsburg with snow like they have back east.
No. No.
They've been getting it all year.
Oh, I know it. They really have. Those nor'easters keep coming in and coming in. Okay, did you flip to see who talks first here? Who's going to? Okay, Brett. We're going to talk about the council and your councilman coming back on. How many were you the first time? How many
12.
Years? 12 years.
Yeah, started my 13th. Mm-hmm. It was a good experience, and I decided that it was time to get back on. This go-around has been a lot different. We've made a lot of changes to how we're doing things. We're doing a lot more things in committees and spending really a lot more time trying to make the city more efficient on how they use their money and how much it takes to run the city. So it's been it's still a learning process, and we've got a long ways to go yet. So,
of course, well, the state of Kansas has many problems, and the schools have many problems and everything. It's always important to have your hand on the pulse there to see what's going on. And citywide is how is the city of Phillipsburg? Maybe you want to answer this, money-wise and so on.
Well, Lance will touch on that a little bit more. We sat down as the finance committee with Brenda and Tim, and we just went through and made our best speculation on what we could spend on, let's say, streets, airport, all that stuff, all the different
Sewer, aquatic center, facilities.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
So, and we looked at what we'd spend, what we spend every month on the utilities and all that stuff, the fixed part of it, and I think roughly we come up with like $90-some thousand for streets. And one thing I had on the streets, and I'll just touch on that a little bit.
Sure.
To replace a brick street is $354,000. That's one block.
One block of brick?
Yeah.
What, you have to take the brick up? And
Yeah.
put everything underneath
Clean it, pack
Sand
it, and then you pour concrete underneath, and it's so. And then you go down to, which was the cheapest replacement of a street, is asphalt, and it's $275,000. So we're talking major expenses. The streets have been here for how many years?
Okay, so if you replace it, would you put brick back in or put asphalt over it? I know, isn't there something in the rules that any repair made on a brick street has to go back in brick?
I don't think so.
I thought it was in.
I don't remember.
Well, we had brick streets there between the library. the library. That was brick at one time.
Yeah.
It's asphalt now.
But there was one time I remember going to the city council meeting and there was some talk about if you had to make check out the water, and if you took brick out, brick had to go back in.
Yeah, and that was the preference. I think we've run into some issues over the years where the asphalt doesn't stay on top of the brick very well.
Yeah.
So that's the reason. And, of course, everybody likes the looks of the brick streets. I do anyway.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
they've been there a long time.
they've been
I
there
think
a long time.
every community in Kansas has brick.
We'll have to make a decision.
Sure.
On, I would definitely like to keep the integrity of the bricks around the square at a minimum.
Hayes ran into a big downtown. Their bricks on the bricks is what they say there. You know.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Hayes did it. So how much of that if you take the brick off? And
354,000 if you
Wow.
basically
That's the one
tear it
block.
down, start over one block. Yeah, and the breakdown of that is it's 105,000 for the pavement removal. And then the brick removal, because they'll probably reuse most of them, is 42,000. Compaction is 12. 8 inches of concrete under that for the base
Yeah.
is 126,000, and then putting the bricks back is another 56,000. Of course, then you got curb and gutter. Then you got ADA ramps, and then if there's water lines underneath of that, then they figure about another 35,000. So on top of that,
And most of our
350.
water lines around the square are underneath the
Pavement somehow.
Okay, now what's underneath the brick now? Is there concrete under the bricks now? Or did you do? Okay, so there is, but you'd have to do that and do it all right. Again.
Right, you'd have to take it out and recompact the soil on it.
Okay, that was one option. Do you have some other options if you do?
The other option is the just all concrete, and it totals 278,000. So, and then another 35,000 if we have to do the water lines while we do it. So,
Now, the life expectancy on those, so you got to take that into consideration.
Right.
Asphalt probably has the shortest life expectancy, and then you have, I don't know, it's probably a toss-up between concrete and brick, isn't it?
I think it's close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bricks have lasted a long time.
Well, yeah,
They
they've
haven't
been on
lasted
100 years probably. Have they been on 100 years maybe?
I mean, we've had to do some,
I would think.
I don't
they've
know
been
when
on
they've
there.
ever replaced any.
No.
So there's bricks out under the highway over here.
Sure.
So,
Someone told me one time that brick make a good for that highway. It's a good foundation. But do they? Or maybe they start.
I don't know. I know when we did the concrete replacement, or the city did at the bank corner,
Mhm.
they ran into a lot of brick while they were doing that, which they didn't expect to see. And it made the project a little more expensive because
So you're looking at these options now, right?
well, we're just looking. Hopefully we don't have to do any streets. Completely replace them. But even the crack sealing and all that is expensive. We started out doing it in like a 4-year rotation years ago. You do a fourth of the blocks in the city every year. Well, it got too expensive, so then we went every 5 years, and then every 6 years.
Yeah.
And now we're playing catch up. Is basically what it is.
yeah. So Tim had Mr. Driggs, our public works supervisor, had an intern, or it was an intern, college student, go out and core all the streets last year.
Really? Okay.
And the plan is to go out and recore them, and then compare, and then based on what we find out, determine the life expectancy of all of our streets, and then we can have a priority of what streets we're going to address first, and then really lay out a detailed plan on what we need to be doing on the street area.
Right.
So are you working? Is that what you're working on now? Determining what you're going to do, and again, funds.
We have to wait for the cores to be taken
Sure,
on
right.
the street thing, but we had Tim go through, and he worked with every one of the committees and determine what projects needed to be done over the next 5 years. So we did a 5-year plan. Okay, for each, whether it was the water and sewer, or the streets, or airport, the facilities, and all that kind of stuff. They all did their own projected thing, and then I had him go in and take that and prioritize across towers, because we don't have so much money.
Yeah.
And if we could do everything, if we had 3.5 million, we could knock that out real quick. We just don't have that. So, so then we have the finance committee sit down with them, and we determine what projects we could do. So we had, for 2018, we had $676,000 worth of projects. But when we looked at what we had to spend, it was like $201,000. So we have a little shortfall.
little short.
About what, 66%?
So, yeah. So we've got to figure out a way to do, because the way we've been operating is, you ask us how we're doing financially. Well, we're doing well financially if you're just running a day-to-day business.
Sure, right.
But if you're not putting something back into your infrastructure,
That's the big important.
which it impacts the quality of life for everybody. And as far as I'm concerned, the role of city government is to make sure those things happen, and that you do take care of your infrastructure. And to say, let's just fix it when it's broken is not a good approach to managing
Well,
anything.
the whole country is, I mean, our highways and everything are the same thing,
Yeah.
you know, money was used for other
Yeah,
stuff.
all communities are in the same boat. I travel around a lot, you know, to the Stockton, Norton, and you look at their streets, and we're all in the same boat. You know, they're all going to have to answer the same questions we're having to answer right now. Is how are we going to come up with the money to keep the streets in good shape?
Because,
So,
you know, you don't have to, citizens don't have to only worry about Phillipsburg, you have to worry about the state and the federal,
Yep.
too, so everything has to go in there, so.
Right.
So how many different committees are you on?
He is our MVP
yeah,
when it comes to
How's
committee.
that?
quite a few, I think, Tad.
Yeah, I was talking to you last night.
He heads up our finance committee. He's on our planning commission. He's
And streets.
and streets
And
and one more.
And one more. It's the JPPC.
Yeah, he took that one on himself.
Yeah.
I did not.
Yeah,
I did
I'm
not
on.
assign
Yeah.
him to that one.
No,
he
I
took
got
that
one.
one on himself.
Okay, all right.
But all of our council members are on at least 2, and some of them are on 3, and now he's on 4.
And I noticed in the minutes now, or in the agenda, it used to be, and 40 some years I attended every city council meeting, and it would go, anything from your, nothing, I mean, now I see each one, they talk about what's going on.
It's really changed. We've restructured the way we do that altogether. We have a committee meeting now. It normally runs from an hour to 2 hours for that meeting, which if we took all that information to the city council meeting, we're probably looking at another 3 hours there. So it does save a lot of time. It seems like everything's cut and dried when we get to the council meeting, but it's because we've done a lot of research up front.
Sure. Well,
So-
and that way, you can just tell what.
Right. And it's a lot easier to have a meeting with 3 or 4 people than, 7 or 8, so.
Okay, so you go to a lot of meetings then, right? Okay,
Yeah,
straight.
pretty
mention,
much.
What happened on what's going to be happening now on the project here on the street? From
On State, okay. State Street basically from the east city limits clear up to the alley between Love's and the car wash will be all concrete.
okay,
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Lance, that will not start until next year,
It'll be next year.
2019.
you're starting to get all the paperwork.
Right,
done now.
and they're actually surveying some of that
Now
stuff right now.
we spent what, 90,000?
90,000 for
on
engineering.
engineering consulting.
Right.
So.
The other part of that, from the First National Bank corner to the west city limits, will be mill and overlay.
Okay.
And that we got a really good deal on.
We talked about
The
that.
$2,800.
I can't
bill.
believe that.
That's a bargain.
$2,800
Yeah.
for how many blocks of overlay and
Yeah.
milling and everything? That's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
$2,800.
We're very fortunate.
Oh yes, how that worked out. When I heard there was $2,800 for that, I said, man.
But that outside lane when you're coming in from the east is get bare.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
just
It's
rough.
all getting bad, even
it's kinda
even coming up
embarrassing.
from the west. They've tried to patch it, but patching only works so well.
So
you
we
know.
got some donations as well. How much was it? 45,000.
I think 45 total. Yeah.
Somewhere, 20 from the foundations.
Okay, wow, sure.
And that's very helpful, so we don't have to come out our budget. And then on top of that, we've spent some more on water, because we're doing all the water underneath as well, changing that all out.
Let's speak about the water a little bit.
Let's do that, because I was told, so a lot of you are probably mad at the city right now.
But it's got to be
Well,
done.
yeah, I mean, we had to do the cone, and the curing process will be done on the 29th. and then we'll run a cycle on the 30th. And it's going to take a couple cycles to wash it out. So mid-April, your water should get back to normal.
Okay.
And we've tried to let people know through the city minutes and stuff like that. I mean, I ran my dishwasher this weekend, and it was terrible.
Yeah,
I ran it again. Then I thought, oh, that's what that is. I thought I left soap scum all over it. It's just water spots.
Yeah.
But it has to be done. This
has
is
to
the
be
water
done.
treatment, the cone
Yeah.
out there.
The cone out there hadn't been painted for years.
Yeah.
Since it was new.
Yeah, and they did an excellent job.
Yeah.
And they're very happy with the work that was done. So,
People don't understand that things have to be done. And, you know, like in the summertime, you're driving somewhere and you hit a detour on the highway. Well, stuff has to be done to keep it so you can drive on it the rest of the year. You know, stuff has to be done.
You know, Tim said the other night that the contractors that we hired to do that, they worked 8 days, 12 hours a day to get that done. Now we're in the curing process, but they put in their time as well. It just, it just takes time.
Well, what is it? Is it the water? It doesn't get
it's hard.
hard now.
It's hard water. It's
So,
not going through the
Right.
softening
so it
process.
hasn't had a chance to go through the softener.
Right.
Correct.
So that's where the
Right.
water.
And really, you can go in and change your softener at home and try to soften it up, but you're not going to get it.
Not the same.
You're going to knock it out.
And the problem is our water source, which is down on the river, everybody knows that, is when it comes out of the ground, it is really, really hard.
Yeah.
So, we're not starting with something, remotely off, so we have to do a lot, they have to do a lot of work on it before they get it softened up.
People
so.
get spoiled.
Yeah.
You know, they ought to live in the cross. I don't know whether they have the worst water in the world in the cross. You know, I mean, I don't know whether, but and it's just that's the nature of the beast, and something has to be done about doing it. You know, so all right. So, and what else? What else?
Well, what we're going through is we kind of highlighted at last council meeting what projects we want to do. Okay, and we kind of laid that out after we had prioritized across those towers. At the next meeting, I want to get approval, so this is our 2018 work plan. That's what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
We did it. We've been doing it a little backwards. To me, in the past, we should have been doing this prioritization before the budget's created.
Mm-hmm.
Now we've got ahead of the game because we've done a 5-year plan. Now we can get out in front of it now. So then we've got to determine, there's 3 ways to pay for this. So you can increase your mill levy, you can go in and raise your rates for everything.
Yeah.
And the other thing is
City sales tax.
city sales tax. I mean, we're going to retire a half cent on the sewer
Yes.
bond. Okay, and could we use that? And we're going to put it in front of the people and let them decide how they want to pay for keeping their
So
infrastructure.
you have to
up.
have the stuff paid for.
Yeah.
You just
So,
don't.
I mean, you can keep the half-cent sales tax
Mhm.
that we're getting ready to retire and apply it towards these $3.5 million of infrastructure projects that we have over the next 5 years. Or we can raise rates. Now, one thing I did do, and we will be sharing that with everybody in town, I had Brenda go out and call all the cities and get rates from Norton, Stockton, Smith Center.
Yeah.
And so we could compare how we were to them.
Mm-hmm.
And proud to say we were in good shape. From water, we were a little bit higher, but less than $1 for 5,000 gallons, I think it
Yeah.
was. And
Yeah.
then on sewer, we were lower than everybody. So,
Sure.
I mean, you hear everybody, why they keep raising the rates, they keep raising the rates. It's true. I mean, you have to pay for some of this stuff. I mean,
Right.
we have people that work on these, that actually we have how many we got working for us now? 18?
Somewhere along there.
Somewhere
I
in
can't
there,
answer.
employees. Well, they get raises every year,
Right.
and you've got to pay for that somehow.
And the health insurance goes up every
Health
year.
insurance
You
goes
know,
up,
it's
so,
just, you know.
There's a cost of living increase that you have
Sure,
to build into your budget somehow, or that's when you get behind and projects suffer and your infrastructure suffers. So, it's going to be up to the people how they want to pay for it. I
Right.
mean, we're going to put it on the ballot to retain that half-cent sales tax. Okay, that was being applied.
That we're gonna retire.
That we were going to retire.
Was it 4 years early?
Yeah, we retired at 4 years early. So we're
Wow.
taking care of your money.
Yeah.
We're not spending it foolishly.
Right.
So now let's take that and apply it towards some other project.
And to me, that's the most painless, because you're doing it anyway. You won't notice it.
You won't
notice
It won't be
You won't
another
notice it.
1% on what you're doing.
No.
You know what I mean? You won't
No,
notice
and that's been our main focus. We're trying to, lack of a better phrase, get the most bang for the buck.
Mhm.
I mean, we're trying to streamline everything where if we're spending the city's money, we're getting our best benefit out of that. So,
I think, what does that equal? About 250,000, 240,000?
yeah, roughly $250,000. $250,000.
Yeah, $250,000 that we could apply. That's what that equals to towards some of these projects.
And we hear a lot. I get the Hayes paper and and the Salina and the city and talk about the city on the wages and so on. And they're trying to, you have to make the job attractive enough so people will do it.
Right.
And
Or you lose them to other.
Sure, lose them to other
The
entities.
city has great employees, but you've
Yeah.
got to pay them enough to keep them. Otherwise, you got great employees, they'll go somewhere else.
Sure. Well,
So,
Yes, they will.
yes, they
Anything
will.
else? You've got a lot of paper there. Anything else you want
No, I mean, so the next, I mean, we're getting ready to go into budget cycle here for too long.
Right.
So, but we have a lot of our work done as far as project. So now we got to determine what our income's going to be and how we're going to pay for some of this. I may use my Phillips County Online if Rachel will allow me to do a survey and say, how do you want it? Would you rather see rates increase or keep the half-cent tax that we're getting ready to retire, or raise the mill levy? I mean, those are the three ways you pay for it. So, and leave it up to the people and kind of get their feedback on and give us some guidance. I know what I would like to see done, but
For me, I'd like the 0.5% sales tax.
Yeah.
To me, makes sense.
Yeah, it does, because it's spread around.
Keeping
It's
it
even
there, yeah.
people driving through help pay for that.
You get
So,
other people help you pay for it.
Right.
It's not us every day.
I got to ask you this: after 3 months, almost 3 months of mayor, how do you like it?
Other than the vicious dog stuff and the code violations, I will tell you, the Economic Development Advisory Board will have their first meeting on the 29th of this month. I'm looking forward to that. We finally got everybody's schedule, got everybody named on stack hands of when we could meet, and looking forward to working on that.
As a mayor, do you get calls from people?
Yeah.
Do you get calls?
I get a few.
Which-
Yeah.
I'm on the planning commission. We had a meeting last night. We talked about that, and the problem all the cities have on these codes and enforcing it, that has to be one of the biggest problems.
It is.
in enforcing the law, and,
Right.
and how you do it.
Well, and basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to keep the city looking nice, and appealing to everybody. And it's sometimes tough because everybody's decides for themselves what they think looks nice. And what I think looks nice in my yard, the neighbor may think that's the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
Right.
So,
Especially if it's a Missouri flag.
yes,
Yeah.
and there is one there.
But yeah, I can see that
Yeah.
with one man's treasure and
Yeah.
another man's junk kind
Yeah,
of thing.
exactly.
And you see some yards have all kinds of stuff. I wouldn't maybe like that in there, but they do, and then that's how you look at it. And that's tough. This code thing is a tough thing, and we're trying to determine. The city is, aren't you? You're
Yeah.
trying to see how to go about enforcing this.
Yeah.
Is my understanding.
Looking
Yeah.
at how to redo the process.
Yeah.
I mean, Belleville went in and hired a third party
Mhm.
from outside to do that, and that's all they do. It's code violations.
Have you heard how that's working?
Well, I know Tim called over to talk to the city manager, and the city manager had been let go. So
Yeah.
he didn't get any feedback from them. But I don't know, maybe what I foresee happening if you're to do that, and if we did it by the book,
Yeah.
I'm telling you what, everybody would get probably a knock on the door of some sort.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
whether you want that and get everybody stirred up, or I like self-policing. I would like to, honestly, I'd like to see neighborhood associations kind of form and let them start taking care of some of that. And I'd fully support neighborhood associations gathering for certain areas of town and let them enforce it.
Well, I know we talked about this last night. we're going through now and see if any changes need to be made in each
Right.
article and all that. And we did some last night. And the discussion was the code, how you handle the code violations and
the
what process you
enforcement.
go through to do it. You know, and I'd say that was a big problem. Not only Phillipsburg, a lot of communities had that problem. And Tim shared it with us last night. You know, I asked him, what other cities do? And said, well, the same thing.
I happened to be in the city office when we've got a couple of vicious dog calls.
Uh-huh.
So I said, Tim, let's go. We jump in the truck and go out there. There's none.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'd like for people to do, I mean, everybody pretty much has a cell phone.
Yeah.
Take a picture of it or video it
Mm-hmm.
of the dog, so we at least know what's going on. And because I went out there and I started the camera as soon as I got out into the neighborhood, and I started looking for the dog, and we went up and down the block everywhere, asked 3 people that were in the area. There was nothing. So we don't have any evidence that it happened, so you just can't. You can't.
Of course, one of the things changes. Someone calls in about my neighbor's grass,
Right.
and
We now require you to come in and sign a piece of
deal.
paper.
That's probably and
That gets away from he said, she said,
yeah.
and battles that go on between neighbors, and they go on,
Yeah.
and they still go on even though they're writing.
Sure.
So if you're really serious, you won't be afraid to fill out a complaint, sign your name to it.
And now if we're driving around and see something that's dangerous to the society, to the residents, then we will definitely enforce it.
Right.
But if it's like grass and stuff like that, we'll probably want it saying unless it's blocking traffic view and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
but what we're going to be doing, just to get back to this budget and money, we will probably have a town hall where we sit and talk about the ways that we can pay for some of these projects and answer questions and determine
good idea.
a path forward on it. So we're going to do the rate discussion for this year, since we don't have the money set aside. And we're going to have a rate discussion coming up in the next meeting or two,
Mhm.
and then we'll go into the budget cycle for 2019. Because it has to be done by August, right?
No, that was July.
Is it July? Okay.
Okay, now
Got to publish it. That's right.
so things are moving along from the standpoint of I lost my thought. I've seen a moment. I had a great question.
Okay.
I had a great question, and
Yes,
it just,
the Jayhawks are going to win.
okay.
No laughing over there, eh?
Oh,
K-State fan laughing in the background.
Yeah, okay.
No, I wish both Kansas teams would.
Yeah, I do too. I'm sorry that Wichita didn't get it in there. But there's 4 out of the big 12 and the,
really
and the
good.
16. That's pretty
Yep.
good there.
We had a strong conference.
OSU got beat last night, and I kind of in the NIT.
Yeah.
I
At
watched
home.
that.
Yeah, that surprised me that they were going to. It was something about the codes. Anyway, I will say that for next time. So
Yeah, there's going to be a code, the law committee is going to meet, is that next week?
It's on the 27th.
Yeah.
So I get to go. Say he can say this, but I get to go to all the committee. I attend every
He
one
does.
of them. So
I know, and I've got to give a thank you to Lance. He has spent so much time working for the city and with the city. I think I do a lot, and I don't do a fourth of what Lance does. So it.
But
he
I
spends
can't. I can't do that.
You know,
We have a great.
We have a great
council.
team.
We
We have
do.
a great team. We really do.
I don't know, my question came back to me. Have you heard any feedback on the meetings being now on my Phillips County? Has anyone talked
I don't
about?
know, Rachel. Have you got any feedback?
I haven't.
We had
I've had.
387 views. It wasn't the last one, the one before. 387 people viewed it, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good number.
Yeah. I mean, that's 400 people, or close to 400
Sure.
people that are showing some interest in
You're
how your
not,
city's being ran.
you know,
And before, we've never had 400 people in the room.
No.
No.
So-
Well, and yeah, there's not very many people. The only people that ever show up, they don't have a gripe. It
Yeah.
seems like,
Yeah.
and which is legitimate. If
Yeah.
they have a gripe,
That's what they should do.
That's what you're there for.
Yep.
Okay.
So one of the projects that Tim will want me to mention this, we're going to have an open house soon for the airport renovations that we've done at the terminal.
Good.
And if you haven't been out there, stop by there.
Okay, I haven't been. I didn't know there's.
If you looked at the inside, see, my take on this was if you have an investor or anybody that's coming into town that flies in and you walk into the room and that's your first impression of Phillipsburg, it wasn't a very good impression.
Right, I know.
So they went in and made the restrooms ADA compliant and redid flooring, walls, painted.
everything.
It's pretty.
And
pretty
we did it
awesome.
with our city's labor. So,
City labor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, very good. Well, as you get back to governing the city.
I do
Lance,
have
I
some
can see
meetings
that-
today
Get back to work, and thanks. We'll have you on. I like this. I like to be able to talk.
Once a month.
Okay, we'll do that. I know. Is Brett? Is there gonna have other council people?
I think everybody ought to have a chance to do
I do too.
But he'll probably do it. He'll probably
Thanks,
do it.
Dad.
He'll probably do it more than everybody else. 'Cause
Okay.
Finances are very.
Yeah.
He's got to figure out how we're going to pay for it all.
Okay. Thanks for coming
Thanks,
on.
Dad.
Thanks.
Very
Dad.
informative. I appreciate that. Okay. Also, the Tadpoll brought to you, and we'll be talking with Sally in a moment here, by all your friends of the Farmers State Bank in Phillipsburg, where interest begins the moment you enter the door. Interest in your member FDIC. Mapes and Miller, it's not what you make, but what you keep. Mid-America Real Estate, providing the best homes there for over 40 years. Blossoms and butterflies, making beautiful flowers a part of your life. Sign Solutions, your one-stop sign shop, and so much more. Madison Motors, in business for over 70 years. And Rogers Associates, your local trusted choice agency. Oh, we've talked about city government this morning. We've talked about CASA. We visited with Terry, who is in Washington, trying to get out of the weather situation there to Gettysburg, and now Sally is going to be joining us. And I heard that your yarn was, and let's talk about that in a moment, was used in a project in New York and in the subways. Okay. First, you're representing your firm.
I am Sally from the Shepherd's Mill.
You know.
Yep.
Okay. How long have you? I remember when you first started. You used to be out north, didn't
It's
you? Yeah,
hard-
in that house right by the 183, right?
Yes, my little red house,
Yeah.
which I have joked often. I wished I could go back to.
Mm-hmm.
I miss the little red house some days. But we've actually been in town with the Shepherd's Mill for 15 years now.
Really? Oh, time goes.
Yes, it's really hard to believe. So it's really
Okay.
neat that that's
And
happened.
how's it going?
It's going well. We're gearing up. We've had a lot of exciting things happen this year, and so we're looking forward to seeing what all happens this year. A lot of new publicity.
Okay, so what are you doing? I mean, and then we'll talk about mainly. I want you to talk about the New York thing.
Right.
What all does the Shepherd's Mill? How are you involved?
Well, our main focus is that we take everything, all kinds of animal fibers from alpaca to yak, and we turn them into mostly knitting yarn that we send across the country. And for the most part, we work with producers who raise the animals, and we send them back a marketable product. However, there's a lot of risk involved in that, and it's dealing with a lot of things that are not in our control. For instance, when the fiber comes in, it may not be as clean as it needs to be, or it may have large pieces of debris, or it might.
Sure.
There's all kinds of things that can cause us trouble working with that natural fiber. And so in the last 3 or 4 years, we've really made an effort to transition into our own retail product, both the knitting yarns and also woven fabrics. And so now, as of last year, Jay and I actually head out on the road for buying trips, where we go out and buy alpaca fiber from the producers we've worked for so long, and put together product that a lot of it ends up being marketed out of New York. So
Okay, so I wasn't aware of this. You mean you take, is it the raw? You take the raw stuff and turn it into the thread and the yarn?
completely from scratch. So what comes
Wow.
into us has been shorn off the animals. Usually the producers have gone through it and sorted out the best of the fiber and pulled out all the stuff we really don't want. Sometimes they haven't. And so then we take it through a 14-step process
Wow.
that cleans up the fiber, that puts it in a product that we can spin the yarn from, and then sometimes that yarn is shipped out. Sometimes that yarn goes on into our weaving loom and we weave it into scarves. Sometimes that yarn is going into designers' hands, and they're designing knitwear for us, patterns that we can then use to sell our yarn. So there's a variety.
Do you do that? You change the raw product in your up
In-
here
in-
up here in the old Penny's
In the old Penny's
store?
building, yes, it all comes
I
in
didn't
the back
realize
door.
you did that. I'd have to.
Yeah, come see us.
I've got to see you do that.
There's
yeah,
a
I didn't
series-
realize that you did that.
Yeah, there's a series of 6 windows that you can actually watch everybody work. And then we do some specialized tours. In fact, Pam is right now working with a group out of Kansas City to put together a bus tour for them to come out and tour the mill.
Wow.
We're going to do some classes with them and show them around Phillipsburg, and we're excited to see how that's all going to work.
Is alpaca yarn or is it all pretty much the same market price, or sheep is wool different than alpaca?
There's a wide variety.
Okay.
Sheep's wool has gotten a kind of a bad rap. There's a lot of different sheep out there, and some of it is kind of itchy. Works better for rugs and upholstery fabric
Really?
than it does for wearing next to the skin. But alpaca is really fine and soft, and what we work to do is to do a luxury product out of it. And the yak and the buffalo and even
Buffalo?
yes, we've done quite a bit of buffalo for a gal out of Wyoming.
You mean you shear a buffalo?
Well, I've never figured out how to do that, Tad, and I really
How
don't
do
want
you
to
want
learn.
to stand still? Gee, I didn't realize that you can do buffalo.
The lady that we work with out of Wyoming, she actually works with several different buffalo farms or
Wow.
ranches, and as they're putting them through the chute in the spring to give them the shots, they pull off the shed for her
Okay.
and stuff it in a bag. So
I guess
that
all
way
of
they
it
don't have to
would have
shear
come
it.
from maybe the mane and
Actually, off
the whole
animal.
wow.
Yeah,
So buffalo, alpaca,
we've done
llama,
we've done
sheep,
we've done wolf for a customer in Phillipsburg that has a domestic wolf.
So what's the advantage of wolf? Is it?
Well, I think it's just fun, but wolf has to be warm, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, I didn't realize that.
We've done probably 10 different breeds of dog hair for people who want a sweater out of their dog.
I'm learning a lot. I did not realize that.
Yep, yep.
Cats?
We have not gotten to do cat yet. I keep thinking that's coming,
Yeah.
but
Wow.
we say we do
So
it.
you get it all in there and you make it in the yarn.
Yep, yep. So-
Well, I learned, this has been a very important morning for me. Like, I was never much for knitting one and purling two or anything like that.
In all honesty, I'm not either. I'm more a weaver.
Okay.
My sister Kay does most of the knitting for us.
Okay. Let's talk about the New York thing.
Oh, the New York.
I heard that they were, and I mentioned earlier, I've been on the subways many times in New York.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of things, but never anyone knitting. Okay,
It's-
so what's the story on the knitting in the subways?
So we're blessed to have our number one client on Long Island, New York, and she actually shears all up and down the East Coast. And she has a little 17-acre ranch on Long Island, and she's an amazing marketer. And she's gotten to know the Vogue knitting world, and in that, a blogger named Christy Glass. And so last winter, as Tabitha was preparing for the Vogue Knitting Live show, she wanted to do something a little bit different. So she contacted Christy Glass and said, you know, I'd love to do a collaboration with you and design a yarn that is unique to you and has your flair that I can market out of my booth at the Vogue Knitting Live show. So Christy agreed. And Tabitha came, she visits us once in a while, flies back from New York to visit everybody at the mill and to get faces with the people who are doing her work for her. And so she happened to come the first weekend in December. And I didn't realize what was going on, but she was on her phone quite a bit on Instagram and Facebook and everything. And about the middle of the afternoon, she said, hey, Christy thinks we should do a live Instagram from your mill. And I said, great. So we had kind of started the process of designing this collaboration yarn, but we weren't really ready to reveal it to the public. But knowing that we were going to be able to do this live Instagram that was going to go to, I don't, like 3 or 5,000, all of her followers, plus whoever else happens to see it, we went ahead and put some things through so that as she was doing the tour, every machine was producing the yarn. And so that caused quite a buzz for a little while. In fact, we had one of our Kansas followers, one of the ones who follows the Shepherd's Mill on Facebook, say, wow, I knew this was happening, but I didn't know it had Kansas connections. And so then, once they had done that, the Vogue Knitting Live show started in the afternoon, on a Friday afternoon, and Christy had encouraged all of her followers that were able to meet her at a certain subway station in New York, and then they were going to spend the morning riding the subway and knitting. And my understanding is that Christy was then knitting on our yarn. I don't think Christy got a lot of time to knit on our yarn because she's pretty excited, and there were a lot of people there for her to visit with. It was really fun to watch the video because there were there were the typical subway riders sitting there trying not to look that they were just trying to look bored as most subway riders do. So it was a neat video to watch.
Well, sure.
And the whole goal of that, Christy was just looking to have a good time with her group, but then that did spur the sales for the yarn at the Vogue Knitting Live show. And they actually sold that yarn out in just a few hours.
Wow.
So they ended up doing a second run the next week that they publicized just through the internet. And they sold that in just the span of a day off the internet as well.
That's great.
That's really encouraging. It's really exciting to me to think about the things that can happen in Phillipsburg, Kansas that are promoted online. We would have never had that opportunity 20 years ago or 30 years ago.
Without online, we would have the opportunity to talk to you about it here.
That's right.
That's the neat thing about this. But have you ever been in New York?
I have once. It's been 3 years ago now. My assistant and I and my sister and her husband went to the Vogue Knitting Live show and set up a booth to market our own yarns. And so I spent the 3 days mostly at the trade show and let the others kind of alternate so that they had time to go see New York. So I kind of missed all the sights.
Yeah.
Except
did you ride the subway?
I did ride the subway, and the show was in Times Square, so I got to experience that Times Square, and Junior's cheesecake. That was pretty awesome.
And it's thick. I mean, it's like that too.
It's huge. Yes, but on the way back to the airport, we had a few extra hours, and the cabbie, who seemed really gruff at first, heard the story about the fact that I flew in from Kansas and that I hadn't gotten to see any of New York. So he gave me a guided tour of New York.
Wow.
And it was so neat to
was the meter running all the time, though?
Bless his heart, I told him that I would be, I'd be very willing to pay for it. I didn't expect him to do it for nothing. But he went above and beyond with places he was able to tell us about, and he visited with us the whole time.
Great,
and it was just
I have
fun.
no problem with a cab drive. People say that they drive crazy.
They
really drive crazy because of the traffic. But no, I lost my billfold when I was back there in January in the cab. He came all the way across. He called, and I got my billfold back. The chances of that
Slim to
or
none.
anywhere.
Right.
And a guy got in his cab and found my billfold, gave it to us. With the two different people that went through, and I got my billfold, everything there. And Joshua was his name. He was from Ghana, I think.
Neat.
And, but yeah, cab drivers, they're fun, and
Yes.
you get to talking to them, and they're just like,
They love to tell. They love to show you their city, just
They
like
do.
we love to show off
sure,
Phillipsburg.
right, yeah. And
Yeah.
and okay, so they're on the subway, and it's amazing. And I wonder what the people thought.
Just watching some of the faces, you could tell they just were trying everything they could to just ignore it. These girls were excited, and there was lots of chatter going on and lots
Well,
of
that's
knitting
good.
going on.
And
So.
it was good for you too.
It was good for us.
Good
Yes.
for you. Okay.
And we're excited. The next one of those collaboration projects, Christy Glass has about 3,000 followers or so, probably up a little bit since I last checked. But the next collaboration we're working on, I understand that blog has about 30,000 followers.
Ooh, wow.
So
Okay.
we're really excited to see how that one grows and what happens from that.
We appreciate you coming on this morning and telling about it. I heard about it. I've got to get Sally on there and talk.
Well, and it works so well with everybody being in New York.
Sure.
One of my employees, my niece Dakota, is in New York on the trip,
With the
and my brother Clark is there with her. So
okay,
yeah,
wow.
so it all worked well with that.
Okay, that's great. All right. Well, Sally, thank you.
Yeah, thank you,
enjoyed-
Tad.
Through the years, we go back a long ways.
Yes,
over
we
there.
do. And I told Rachel, I realized this morning that, this is a little different because I have a face for radio. So I had to rethink what I was going to wear this morning.
Okay. Very good. Thanks for coming on. We
Thank
hope
you,
things
Tad.
keep going well and everything. And wolf and dog and llama. What's the hardest to work with?
The hardest is, there's several. Buffalo, cashmere, camel, and black bear are the ones that we found to be the
Black
worst.
bear. How?
Because their fibers are so short and it's hard to get control of it.
Now, how do you get?
I'm
How
not
do you get fur
even
from a black bear?
asking.
How do you?
I don't want to know.
Very carefully,
Exactly,
right? Okay,
exactly.
Thank you, Sally. We
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Tad.
Yeah. Any other strange stories come up? If they do it somewhere else, let me know.
I will be in touch.
Fine. Thank you. All right. I guess, is that it this morning, Rachel? No one else out there. All right. The Tadpoll, of course, brought to you every Thursday morning at this time. New surroundings here. They're going to continue to put the new surroundings here where we're located on the west side of the square. So we're looking forward to doing it Saturday morning on the Sports Talk. Keith Sides will be on and talk about golf. Also will be Saturday morning on Sports Talk, the state champion Northern Valley Huskies. Chuck Fessett will be with us. Coach Grauerholtz will be with us from Thunder Ridge on the girls team that went to state. We'll be talking Saturday morning on that. And again, Rachel, who took care of everything. We almost got the thing done. And if we do it again, I'm sure we'll figure out what it is. We did have a chance to talk to him. And you didn't get a chance. Was his picture still on, or we lost his picture when he called me on the phone? Right? Okay. Anyway, they're having a good time back there, regardless of the weather. You have a great time when you go back with the Dennises and the Thomases back in Washington and Gettysburg today, and then, of course, New York tomorrow. They're going to see Phantom, I think, tomorrow night and do the other things. So we'll see you next Thursday morning here on the Tadpoll at 9 o'clock. Should have checked. I already have some guests scheduled for next week coming on here, so we'll see you then. Thanks for joining us, and we thank all the guests who appeared with us today.